Why most Americans are broke at 40. Here are 5 wealth killers from their 20s. Imagine this. You're 40 years old, you've been working for almost 20 years. You've had jobs, promotions, raises, you've paid rent, maybe bought a car, maybe started a family. You've done what most people would call a normal life. And then one day, you sit down and you actually add it all up. The savings account, the retirement fund, the car, the house equity if you have it, minus the credit card debt, minus the car loan, minus the student loans you might still be paying. And the number you get back is not what you expected. Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody puts in the headline. The median American in their 40s, not the poorest, not the average, the person right in the middle, has a net worth of just $135,000, not $500K, not $300K, after 20 years of working. And the reason that number is so low almost never comes from what happens at 40. It comes from 5 specific decisions made in the 20s that most people thought were completely normal at the time. That's what this video is about. My name is Yeng and I spend too much time studying why people who work hard their entire lives still end up financially stuck. And more importantly, what the turning points actually were. If you're in your 20s or 30s right now and you want to understand the decisions that either build or destroy your financial future, hit subscribe and give this a thumbs up if this helps you out. And I want to be clear about something before we start. This video is not about blaming anyone. The 5 wealth killers I'm about to show you, most people who fell into them had no idea what they were doing at the time. They were doing what everyone around them was doing. That's exactly what makes them so dangerous. Before we get into the 5 killers, I need you to see this data because it reframes everything. Look at these 2 numbers for Americans in their 40s. The mean or average net worth is $548,000. That sounds decent, right? But the median, the person right in the middle, which is the number that actually represents most people, is $135,000. Here's what most people don't realize. The mean is inflated by a small number of extremely wealthy people at the top. A few billionaires in the data set pull that average up dramatically. The median is the honest number, and for most Americans in their 40s, the honest number is $135,000. If you liquidated that entire net worth and spread it across 1 year, it's $11,275 a month for someone who has worked for 20 years. That's not financial freedom, that's one medical emergency away from starting over. But how did this happen? Here are 5 wealth killers starting in your 20s. Number 1. The car that cost more than you thought. In your early 20s, a car feels like a necessity, and sometimes it is. But here's the thing, it's not the car that kills your wealth, it's the way most people buy it. The average new car payment in America right now is $770 per month. That's $9,240 a year for a thing that loses roughly 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot, and keeps losing value every year after that. Now, watch what happens when you run that $770 a month through a compound interest calculator at a 7% return over 20 years. It becomes $401,000. That's the opportunity cost of that car payment, not the cost of the car, the cost of what the money could have become if it was invested instead. Look, I'm not saying never own a car, I'm saying a used car that costs you $300 a month instead of $770 frees up $470 every month to invest. And $470 a month over 20 years at 7% is $244,000. The choice between a new car and a used car in your 20s isn't a $470 decision. It's a $244,000. Number 2. Here's where it gets uncomfortable because this one is almost invisible. The average American carries about $6,500 in credit card debt in 2025, according to the American Express. The average credit card interest rate in 2025 hit a record of 21.5% APR. Most people in their 20s carry some version of this balance and pay the minimum every month without thinking too hard about it. If you carry $6,500 on a credit card at 21.5% APR and only pay the minimum of $120 every month, it takes you almost 17 years to pay it off. And the total you actually pay? Over $14,000 for $6,500 worth of purchases. But here's the second layer that most people miss entirely. That $6,500, if it had been invested at 7% instead, would be $25,152 in 20 years. So, the real cost of that credit card balance isn't $14,000 in interest. It's $25,152 in lost compounding plus $7,500 in interest. That's over $32,000 in total economic damage from one credit card balance that felt normal. This is what I mean when I say the wealth killers from your 20s don't look like emergencies, because they look like everybody else's Tuesday. Now, number 3. This one is the one that I believe causes the most long-term damage because it doesn't feel like a decision, it feels like a delay. Person A starts investing $300 a month at age 22. By age 62, that's 40 years, at 7% annual return, they have $718,000. Okay, for person B, he waits until 32 to start. Same $300 a month, same 7% return, same age 62 retirement. The result is $340,000. Same person, same income, same discipline, a 10-year delay cost them over $378,000. Well, that's not a financial decision, that's a timing decision, and most people in their 20s make it by default, not because they choose to delay, but because nobody ever showed them this calculator. Here's what most people don't realize. The best time to start investing is not when you feel financially ready. The best time was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Number 4. This one is sneaky because it happens at a moment that feels like success. You get a raise, maybe it's $5,000 a year or that's almost $416 a month, and almost immediately things shift. You get a nicer apartment, you eat out a little more, you upgrade the phone, you get the streaming service you were resisting. None of it is dramatic, all of it feels earned. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is the single most common reason why people earn more money don't end up with more wealth. Every time you get a raise and spend the entire thing, you didn't get richer. You just get busier. The wealthy version of getting a raise is this. Keep your lifestyle exactly the same for 6 months, put the entire raise into investments automatically, then and only then, allow yourself a modest upgrade. That 6-month delay is the difference between $255,000 in investments and a slightly nicer Netflix plan. Number 5. This is the one that almost nobody includes on these lists, and it's the one that I think matters most, especially in your 20s. Here's the thing. You can optimize your savings rate, avoid credit card debt, drive a used car, and still find yourself financially stuck at 40 if your income never grew. Because here's the math nobody talks about. A $15,000 annual income increase from marketable skill in your 20s, invested at just 10% every year for 20 years at 7% return, becomes $116,000. Data analytics, digital marketing, UX design, coding, financial modeling, these are skills that command $70,000 to $120,000 salaries. And many of the foundational courses cost under $50 on Udemy or Coursera. The return on a $50 course that increases your income by $15,000 is not 10%, it's not 100%. It's 30,000%. No stock, no crypto, no index fund in the world matches that return. And yet, most people in their 20s treat professional development as optional, while treating a $900 phone upgrade as non-negotiable. Here's the honest summary. The median 40-year-old in America has won $35,000 in net worth after 20 years of working. And that number traces back almost every time to some combination of these 5 decisions made quietly in their 20s. A car payment that was compounded against them. Credit card debt is treated as normal. Investing is delayed by just a few years. A raise spent instead of invested, and income that never grew because skills were never developed. None of these felt like disasters at the time, they felt like a life. But compounded over 20 years, they add up to the difference between financial freedom and financial stress at 40. You're watching this video, that already puts you in a different category because you're asking questions that most people don't ask until it's much harder to course correct. That $135,000 doesn't have to be your story. If this video helped you see something clearly, please hit the like button. It helps more people find this content who genuinely need it. Subscribe and hit the bell. Every week I cover crypto, investing, and personal finance for people who want to build real wealth, not just look like it. Drop a comment below which of these 5 wealth killers hit closest to home for you. I read every single comment. See you in the next video. Bye!